Welcome back to Movified. I'm your host, Mark Hirschi, owner of Salmon's Moving and Storage, located in beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia. It is the nighttime edition. I know so many of you have messaged us saying, man, when are you going to do a nighttime podcast? And today's the day. Today is the day, and we're just so excited to come together. Steven, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Guys, for the ones who are watching, look how awesome Mark's home office is. The view that he just turns around to. That's Vancouver, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, you know what? If it was a bit warmer, I'd probably be filming this out on the roof deck, and got a really nice shot at downtown Vancouver. So it's always beautiful at night on a clear day. But you know what? No one wants to listen to about Vancouver. You know, someone actually messaged me the other day and said, you know, you're such a fantastic host, but you don't really talk a lot about yourself and like how things, you know, came to fruition and how you kind of got started and everything. So I kind of wanted to, because me and Steven, just before, we were talking a lot about trucks and the differences that we've noticed, you know, over the last 10 years, you could say, you know, of just what you used to buy pre-COVID and what you buy now. I always used to tell people, right? I had a message the other day from someone that said, hey, you know what? I just purchased my third truck. I'm so excited because, you know, we're busy. I hate renting trucks. And I said to him, you know, once you get to about 5 trucks, sit back. Because if you are managing and running 5 trucks on a consistent basis, you're making great coin. Your margins should be like really tight if you're playing it well, and you should be able to grow to ensure that you are pushing out these 5 trucks 7 days a week, even 6 days a week, right? Take Sunday off, enjoy Sunday, the Lord's Day, you know,
Or at least charge for it. Yeah. Charge for that Sunday.
We used to, you know, my previous moving company, we would work 7 days a week. You know, for a guy that taught Sunday school and go to church, you know, we'd want it to be open 24/7. Like that was just our kind of thing. And eventually I start to realize that it becomes a real pain in the ass when it's a Sunday morning, you're trying to focus and have your day off and a driver doesn't show up and you're getting these phone calls and you're getting power calls, you know, and you're trying to give that dispatcher day off because you don't want your dispatcher working 7 days a week. You know, small moving companies, it's tough. It's tough to hire someone and say, hey, all right, I just need you to work Monday to Friday and don't worry about the weekends, because in reality, you kind of want him to work that Saturday, you know, or you get that salesperson and now that salesperson's like, dude, you have me working all day, every day. Right? Like there's no off switch. It's a real fine line.
Moving companies, you know referrals are the best leads, right? But communicating with customers, tracking progress, managing payouts, it's just overwhelming. That's why at SnoBall, we do it all for you. And we're really good at it. In fact, in just a few months, the SnoBall platform helped JK Moving generate over $200K in new revenue. We even helped New City Moving book 30 moves in a single month. If you have happy customers, we can get you referrals. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to get the first 2 months on us.
Are you a mover looking to make an impact? Discover MovingLetters.ai and join the ML Plus Club today. Elevate your customer engagement with the personal touch of handwritten letters.
If you want to take your company to that next level, it's the only way to subscribe. If you're doing anything but Moving Letters AI, you need to get on it. So it's going to take your business to that next level. You're going to see an increase in that revenue. Let's go.
I highly recommend using this company. They're amazing to work with. They even send you an email on how much work they're producing for you.
Don't miss out. Join the revolution and start making moves that matter.
Put a golden damn ticket in there with Moving Letters AI.
But anyways, we're talking about trucks. When I was growing the company, I really found that medium really nice. Like 4 or 5 trucks was fantastic. It was easy to maintain. I always knew that I had enough guys on my roster to cover all of those trucks, all those jobs. And they were happy because they were busy. they weren't sitting idly, because when you get to that 8, 9, 10 trucks and you're not running 10 trucks every day, you get those drivers that are kind of getting pissed off because they're like, man, like, when am I working?
Yeah, it's hard to keep it all cycled. Yeah.
So for myself, when I was growing this company, we landed this contract, and it was because of the Olympics. So we landed this contract, and it was one of those things that I did right in the beginning, where I sat down with my guys and I said, what are you seeing out there? Right? Like, what are you seeing happening? And I remember one of my drivers said to me, he's like, oh, we just moved this house. This realtor hired us to move out this furniture, and these ladies came in and they started bringing all this fake furniture in, and they were staging the home, and it was stagers, right? And I mean, you flash back 15, 20 years, like, this was not a thing, right? Like, you weren't looking at Millionaire, all of these shows that are out there for the real estate shows, and all these shows.
It's
on
a whole
HGTV,
business
like,
now. Yeah,
it's a whole business, right? Like, it's a massive industry, and we jumped on that, right? We went around to like all these staging companies and said, hey, here's our flat rates, here's our delivery prices, we can do this, we can do X, Y, Z. And as I finessed that, one of the accounts that we had was an event furniture company. This guy gets the account for the Olympics to do all the houses, and says, Mark, I need like 8 5-ton trucks. And I was like, sure. And I mean, in my head, we had 2 5-ton trucks, and I think 3 little 3-ton, 1-ton trucks, right? Little 20-foot box trucks. But I wasn't going to tell that to the guy, right? I was like, hey, no problem. Like, we have the fleet.
I'll figure it out.
We'll make this work. But, in order for us to do this, I'm going to need like a $50,000 deposit, because I have to commit my trucks for your dates, all this kind of stuff. And
meanwhile,
so
Mark's like, I got to get some trucks.
I was like, what am I going to do? And you didn't have
at least
Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
But I just was like throwing numbers out there. So I looked at it, because back then, I mean, we're talking 2009, you could pick up a 5-ton truck for $10,000, $20,000. I mean, it was not unbelievable to find a decent 5-ton truck for under 20 grand. So I just started looking all over Craigslist. We didn't have things like Angie's List, but I just started hunting down newspapers, auction facilities, and word of mouth, right? Like, started kind of talking to guys in the industry. Do you know so-and-so? If they're selling a truck, let me know. And I would just show up to these places with like cash in my wallet, and I just, you got your hand on your wallet, and the truck they want is like 14,000, and you're like, I got 10. And they're like, no,
what do you want to do?
Yeah. What do you want to do? Right. It's like, where's the gunshots? Right. Like,
you got no records on this thing. What do you mean? When you've been maintaining?
That's right. Where's the papers? Where's the papers? But I negotiated back and forth with a bunch of these guys, and that 50,000 basically bought me another like 4 or 5-ton trucks.
Yeah.
And, and we can talk a little bit more deeper on this, because is that a ballsy move? 100%. Right? I mean, unless you're bringing a mechanic with you, a heavy duty mechanic, don't just bring some car mechanic, but you're going to pay for a mobile heavy duty mechanic to come check out the truck. Typically, they're going to want you to bring it to the shop. So you have to coordinate now with the seller and say, I got to bring it to the shop. I want to get it inspected. Pay the $300-400, whatever it costs to get that truck inspected, because there's so much shit that can go wrong compared to a regular vehicle. And a lot of guys out there, they're, unless you're studying and you know what a Cummins engine is compared to a Detroit engine, you're going to be
Detroit,
fucked, right? Exactly.
I'm a
right?
Detroit fan. I'm a Detroit fan on the engines. And shout out to Andrew at Professional Movers. Maybe a guest here soon. I recommend him as a guest. We should call him.
Yeah, for sure. I think I reached out to him too. So we'll definitely have to get him on here.
Phone a friend.
Shall we call him now? Shall we call him? Andrew,
what are you doing, Andrew?
What are you doing right now? let's
I'm wearing your shirt. Is that awkward?
Exactly. So, when we talk about buying new trucks, there's guys out there that say, oh, I just bought this new truck and another new truck, another new truck. A new truck is like 150,000 plus.
Gosh, it is.
It's crazy
Man.
now.
It's absolutely wild. I think the last truck I had was 134. Ticket
Jeez.
Kentucky body. It's out of hand. I mean, it really is. COVID just shot it up. But I guess all of our companies got a little more valuable at that time too, with our trucks on that side. But
For sure. I think it's a fine line, right? If you bought a lemon, I'm sorry for it, right? Like, it's gonna happen. And we're all kind of guilty of seeing that shiny truck, not thinking twice. Ooh, nice tires, drives nice, everything else. You pick it up, you get back, and guess what? that truck's in the shop. I had that once with a tractor. I thought I picked up like the best deal ever. It was a 2018 Volvo tractor. It was beautiful, and it should have sold for easily about 120,000. I picked it up for 65 at an auction and thought I won the golden ticket. And little did I know, this truck ended up being such a lemon. I probably threw another $40,000 in repairs and constant something, right? Like, eventually you kind of go like, what the fuck is wrong with this truck? Because it just doesn't make any sense anymore.
yeah, like I had one of these Enterprises, one of those cab over Enterprises, a 20-footer. I got it from Enterprise, and I should have known. Why is Enterprise getting rid of this early? Why it's still under warranty? And I got this thing, and man, I probably put $60,000 in this thing in like 2 years. Like, let's get rid of this. I bought 2012s Enterprises too. I bought 8 off of a lease. 8 2012 Max Force Internationals. And I don't know if your heart just exploded for me right there, but all 8 of them in one off season had the big problem, had the big $8,000 ticket, had the big rebuild. Almost put me down. Wasn't expecting that. So after that, I'm a pro buy it new, get rid of it, trade it in, depreciate it. But I'm lucky to have that option, but I didn't have that option for a long time.
I think now you really need to be savvy in the direction that you want, because if you I went that direction and I blew up my fleet to 12 trucks overnight because of an event, because someone was able to provide me with a down payment that I could go ahead and try and purchase whatever trucks I could, to make sure, knowing that these trucks were going to pay for itself within like a year, and they're all then paid off. I can kind of figure it out from there. Let's say there's a couple maintenance services. Let's say something goes wrong on it, it's paid. But if I know I am trying to grow my fleet and I want that, cab over Kentucky box that is, just you are having a dance party on the back of that floor. It is so smooth, it's slick, everything is like bells and whistles on this truck. That's great, and go for it. Make sure you've wrapped that truck as best as possible, and but look at your payments, figure out your payments, and make sure that it's worth it, because when you're paying anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 on a finance or lease payment on that truck, and then you add the insurance on top of that truck, you better make sure that truck is making money.
Yeah, or just use a rental until you get there. Don't force yourself. Use a rental. You can take it back and forth as long as it's not going. If you don't need it for 20 days in a month, right? You don't need a new truck, right? 20 days, you're automatically saving money by having not a truck and a rental truck and going back and forth. So, and when you're not having that capacity where you're needing a rental for more than 20 days in the month, don't even think about it. Like if I could go back and tell my younger self, it would be stop rushing to get more trucks, because I probably cost myself a lot of cash.
Don't you see some of these guys, and I see it out there. We see it on the Facebook pages where they are just growing. I mean, which is great. And I want them to. I want everybody to grow. I want everybody to be successful. But just like you're saying, like, just be a little bit smart on jumping the gun on, hey, I just ordered 5 brand new trucks or 3 brand new trucks. Like, just make sure, because
You have the demand. Yeah.
you need the demand. You need to make sure, because when winter time comes and you're not running those trucks all the time, or you better make sure that you're allocating the right driver to drive that brand new truck. It's one thing, wow, that truck looks so nice. Wow, we just spent, $8,000 on getting it completely wrapped and taken care of. And then some guy goes in the truck and lights up a cigarette and burns a hole in the seat, or wasn't paying attention.
Stuff
and
is
the
a
next thing is
subway
trash.
wrapper in the AC vent, right?
Yeah,
we see
exactly.
it all, right? Like, what are you putting food in the AC vent? What's the all? If you allow it.
I sometimes just shake my head, and it can be tough, but it's definitely something that I have always found rewarding when you can try and make sure that driver is driving the same truck all the time. Right.
Yeah,
So when
it's
we
hard
used
to do when
start
you're
out,
running 7 days and guys aren't running 7 days. It's kind
for
of
sure.
hard. But my big way is, like, if they had a truck, make sure the next day they're in the same truck.
What we started doing is we started figuring out to do teams. So I would be like, okay, Mark and Steven, you're in charge of truck 1. And this way, because they weren't working 7 days a week, that if Steven wasn't driving that truck, I was driving that truck. Right. So this way, if someone was, fucking up on the job and you're like, dude, like, why is the back of the truck, the pads aren't folded, this isn't folded, there's no accountability, you don't have this crazy operations process like Stephen Reed does at Big League, right? Like where you have everybody just checking all the boxes and making sure everything's done. It's your typical month-end nightmare, and it's the next day, it's the second, and you're like, why is this not taken care of? You're not flipping through the Rolodex of going like, who drove this truck last? What's happening here? It's either Mark or it's Steven. It's one of you guys, and someone fucked up, and you're paying the price.
You're just trying to pinpoint who it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then what do you do when they do something? That's a good question. Mark, what is your penalty when they do pop a corner cap?
You know what? We've had it where these guys have hit the corners of the trucks and everything. And I mean, I typically will sit down with the guys and try and understand what caused it. Like, what was it? I mean, the most common things that I always heard from the guys was, well, we didn't see the branch. Oh, we thought that branch was a little bit lower or whatever it was. Or didn't, that sign, that corner of the building looked higher than it was supposed to be. What are you going to do? I can't charge the guys and say, well, guess what? You're paying the repair bill, right? I mean, it's about letting them know that that this is like a big no-no, and we just want to expect the highest quality of service and care for when you're driving the truck. Because I find that sometimes these guys, they go, oh yeah, I know how to drive a truck. I've driven a truck before. And they think it's a sports car. They drive it like a sports car. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on? And we're talking like Samsara, right? Like, you had no idea. Like, there was no proper governors on the gas and the brake. So, I mean, you'd hear it from like a helper going, oh my God, I can never drive with this guy again. You're like, why? You're like, man, this guy is wild. He scared the shit out of me on the highway.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, hey, why are you scaring people? I heard one time, that always reminds me, and this guy ironically owns a moving company. He's one of the competitors for me. I have a lot of former employees that compete with me and still do the same things that I did when they were working for me. So you always got to move forward and never have to look back. But he is, my brother called me and said, hey, what, you got trucks out on the ice today? Mark, over here, when there's ice, we shut down. We're like, hey, see y'all. We'll see you when the ice melts. So we're going in the house. And so it was an icy day, and my brother was out, and he happened to see one of my trucks, and then my truck on a busy road, which wasn't so busy that day, just cut it. E-brake, slid it, and then started doing this guy was doing 360s. He didn't work for me after this day in a moving truck. So yeah, without Sam, so that's why you always see me so passionate about Sam Sarah, because I always think about those memories of like not knowing that's happening in my truck that could hurt somebody, or the poor other guy that was in that truck. That's a scary experience. So
Your moving software does the basics, but have you seen Supermove? It's the most comprehensive solution out there. Supermove has automations that respond and follow up with leads for you, even when you sleep. Don't want to do an on-site estimate? Use Supermove's virtual survey to get all the information you need without leaving the office. Once the crew is on their way, the customer gets a live link to follow along their route, which means no more last-minute phone calls asking where their movers are. Crews can indicate when they arrive at the location, use the app to walk customers through a digital bill of lading, fill out timesheets, and automatically calculate all job expenses, including drive materials and tax. Click the promotional link in the description to schedule a Supermove demo.
I think when you know that someone's been a reckless driver, it's like they've rear-ended a vehicle or smashed into a parked vehicle. Like I've had it where the guy was pulling out and hits a parked vehicle, like takes out the mirror. It's like, okay, well, you're just like, you're not driving the truck anymore, right?
Yep.
You're back into I'm jumping on the truck with you, or the operations manager's jumping on the truck with you. And we're going to go back to like some driving school basics just to make sure you're comfortable with it. I still, even to this day, if we hire a new driver, I jump in the truck with them before they even step in any of my vehicles.
what?
I go, great. Hey, let's go for a drive. Show me what you got. And I usually test them, especially when it comes to backing up a truck. And I wait.
They're not
They're not going to ask me to jump out of the vehicle and help them back them up. Oh, interesting.
Test? Yeah. Give me the snapshot step by step of like, all right, Mark's jumping in the cab. How you doing? You ready to drive? How long you been driving? What's this look like? Give me the rundown. Life in the day. A run through.
Well, first off, I mean, I'll toss them the key, and I always ask them, I'm like, do you know the difference between a gas truck or a diesel truck?
Nice.
And if they have no
Save
idea,
yourself $10,000. Yeah, I like it.
if they have no idea what a glow plug is, and they don't realize, they got to turn that key a little bit and wait, I already have a red flag. Like, okay, we gotta step back here and start from the beginning. Then I check and see if they even do a walk around. Right. I mean, I'm watching them as if this is like a driving exam, and it's like, I don't know if America has it, but in Canada I think Canada's like worst drivers. It's like a TV show, and these guys are going, I think, for the driving test, and it's like, it's being recorded. It's the funniest show ever, because it's
no, we don't have that, but you get on the interstate here in Memphis. You
don't need a TV show.
You don't need a TV show. You live it. You hold on.
I'll check and see, right? Are they doing a walkthrough, right? Are they going to walk around the truck, make sure everything's checking? Are they kicking the tires? Are they even opening up the hood to check the oil? Like, are they doing a full pre-trip? And if they're not, I'm not going to hold them to it. It's going to be like, okay, let's sit back down in the boardroom and let's discuss it, or go in the lunchroom and discuss what you missed. But I'll check and see, right? Because a good driver, if there's a guy that's coming in and goes, oh yeah, I've worked for this moving company and I've driven 5-ton trucks and I went out of town and I've done long haul jobs, they should know all this stuff, right? Like, they should already be pre-qualified to go, this is exactly what I need to do before even getting in the truck. Then from there, once they've started that truck and they take off, I am having them turn right, like to do a right-hand turn right off, because are they going to hit the curb? Are they, taking a very tight right turn compared to a left turn? Because if I'm taking a left turn out of the driveway or parking lot, it's a much wider, easier turn. But I want to see them turn right. I want to see, are they going to pull out a little bit and make sure they're not going to clip the vehicle that's parked right there at the end? and then I'll take them through like a typical intersection roundabout. I'll see how they are at a roundabout. I'll see how they are at in a small community setting, and have them like pull over.
So you have your little map around your office?
Yeah, well, I kind of like I know the area where our office is, so I can kind of take them. I mean, it's about a 5-10 minute whole process, right?
Do you have a one line that you always say that you're like, all right, you stopped a little early there, son?
No, but I should.
You saw the back of, you got to see the back of the tires. You know, I mean, is that like one of your things? Like, how you have some isms while you're in there?
No, well, I can't think of any at this time. Thank you for asking. I feel like I'm being put on the spot now, so you didn't prepare me for these questions. No, I'm joking.
We need to hear more about Mark. I mean, Mark's got a very large operation going on there in Vancouver. I want to hear a little more, so I flipped it back on you. It's the nighttime episode.
It's the nighttime, I know, right? So we'll do that whole process, and then I'll bring them back in. We'll sit down. We'll discuss, what was right, what was wrong, what our expectations are, and typically at that time, I've brought in the operations manager. Right. So I brought in the operations manager. If the dispatcher's free, great. Like, come in, let's sit down. I mean, they've already went through the process of hiring this guy. I'm going through the process of, can this guy drive our trucks?
Because you're putting your $150,000 truck in the hands.
Yeah. And it's not even the truck too. Are they safe on the road? Right. Are they going to be safe with
representing you?
How many times do you ever used to get the phone calls, even still today, where it's like, your guy cut me off? And you're a massive billboard, right? So the last thing as a driver, you should not be fingering the guy beside you saying,
what do you drive, Mark? Do you drive a company wrap vehicle?
I do. And I've had both. I've had it where it's not been wrapped. I've had it where it's been wrapped. I do a commute where I'm going completely across town. So for me, it makes sense to have a wrapped vehicle because I'm advertising all the time. At the same time, too, I get very nervous because I tend to be a bit of an aggressive driver. So
that's what I was wondering.
So like, I'm the last person.
Does your company ever get calls about you?
Yeah, they have in the past, for sure. And I'm usually the guy that's like, I'm so sorry, ma'am. Like, I will definitely talk to him. He's one of our moving consultants, and yeah, we'll have to have a chat with him.
How dare he? Was he bald?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Was he bald? Did he wear glasses?
I'm going to write this down.
Yeah, that poor lady's already on the website being like, I think he looks like the president. At least half your crew all have beards, clearly, with your operations there, Mr. Haas. So, I mean, it's like a blend. It's like, was that Steven? Was that Jason? Was that Jake? Was that Mike? Like, they all just kind of flow in and look the same.
I got a buddy, Chris Walker. He owns Downstream Logistics at White Glove. And he comes by. He's not too far from Memphis. He actually bought my Atlanta location for the logistics side. But he comes to Memphis every once in a while. He's in town and he meets new staff. And he's always like, after he shuts the door, we go in my office, he's always shaking his head. He's like, you guys, I mean, it's a big league thing. I mean, it's just the big, burly, bearded gentleman. You got culture you got going over here. He's laughing about it. I meet a new big league guy, but it's the same.
So what do you, when it does come down to trucks, what are some of the steps that you take when you're ready to expand to another truck? Do you have like a good contact? Are you reaching out to some guy that you know? What do you guys do?
David Powell, I'll go through a little bit of my journey. I won't keep it too long. I'm long-winded and we're already kind of in. I could talk all night long. I've done every model you can think of. I started out with a model of what I call the clunker, right? Whatever money you could get to get whatever it is, spray painted gray and put my logo on. So I had the old yellow riders. Remember those, Mark?
Yeah.
The bright yellow riders that you would have. Right?
Sure.
That was a hard paint job to cover. It was a bright yellow for the younger guys on the staff. It's like a puke yellow.
Well, the worst is when the truck got scratched. You went through and you've scratched it. Now you have this like yellow, like it's just right. You're just like, oh, not again.
Well, yeah. So we had the yellow. Those old clunkers. I had a U-Haul named Bessie. I mean, I still have her on my desk. Just a beautiful, beautiful bird. I painted the orange part just burgundy, just as ugly as it can be. That gas burner could fly though. I went from the clunkers. Then I bought like the 300,000 10-year-old trucks, 5-year-old trucks, kind of went through that phase. Then I was tired of truck problems, man. I had those 8 trucks go down, almost killed me. Just fed up with it, and I started leasing. I didn't really just have the money to go buying, so I started leasing, which is very similar to buying, very similar on the cost of buying. And then I went through a phase where I was turning in leases, and I paid a lot of money and learned a lot of lessons there. So like that's the big negotiation, is the buyout. Yeah.
I mean, are you doing like a 3-year lease, or are you doing a 5-year lease? And are you negotiating in that lease like maintenance packages as well too? Because I know like places like Penske and stuff where like they had these like maintenance packages, so it kind of was appealing, right? Like, great, I get to lease my vehicle. They're doing all the maintenance. They're doing everything. Like, so like, what were you guys doing?
You can wait on it to order. They give you a truck until you order. It's always nice. Like, okay, we'll give you a Penske until then. It's really nice. I wish I didn't do it. If I could go back in time, the leasing function hurt me. Those companies aren't our friends. I'm sorry. If Penske is going to be an advertiser one day, you might have me have a rebuttal. I use them. They're a necessary evil, but boy, are they evil. They are not our industry's friend. They overcharge us. They beat us up all the time. But, I had a couple Penskes. I had a 7-year lease there. I had a 5-year lease with a local dealer, and I got to give them a shout. Tag Truck. A local dealer leased me some trucks. A bank wouldn't do it at the time, and they leased me on their own. The owners did. Good people. Buy from them every time now. Freightliner dealership.
Decent rate.
I know a lot of people buy from. Yeah, as good as you can get it. They are good people. I know Zane has done some trucks with them. I know a lot of guys have come into. I get to see them come into Memphis when they buy from David Powell. But they were really good to me. But then Penske did some. Ideal lease. I can't say anything nice, so I won't say it at all. Ryder, I've leased with them all when I needed it. So I had a bunch of leases. That was a phase. What I regret is the turn in, right? They make hand over fist money on that lease, and it's all under warranty. So that stuff you're taking it in, they're chopping it to the warranty shop, right? And they're really just doing tires, which you're paying overly for on that side. But man, the turn-ins where they're killing you. They're going to say, hey, I need a whole new that box. It needs to be new, right? We need to reconstruct this box to new. And I had all these turn-ins where they were $30,000, $40,000. And they're 7-year trucks, right? And they're trying to hold you to it. And then you had like Tag, who I had that was just like, Steve, I made a lot of money on it. You can turn that thing in early if you need to, right? And so it's a big difference dealing with the big companies and the not. So that's what I learned on that. So when you are doing a lease, you'll see me on some of the moving groups chime in on those lease talks and just say, go ahead and negotiate the buyout. That's the main thing. Before you sign a lease, hey, I want it at this value at the end of it. It can be $30,000, whatever it is. You make it high. But give yourself an option to buy that truck before they put their own price tag on it, in lieu of them giving you a big damage bill that you don't get anything for it. Is my big recommendation. A lot of people talk about the Penske benefits of leasing one. I overheard people like, no, just go lease all your things from Penske when you do long distance, because then they'll maintain it. You only have to have one truck with them, and you can call them at any time and use their fleet system, their maintenance system. Just kind of a thing I've heard a lot. That company hasn't helped me. I've needed them to be where I am, but that company, Penske, hadn't been friendly to me whatsoever in my work. They've overbilled me. And
yeah, Penske to me has always been very friendly because they constantly want my business. And so I hold them. Hold them very, very close. What are you going to give me? What are you planning on giving me? But I've never jumped in to do a lease package with them. I know guys locally that have, and they like it. Like they really stand strong on
it.
Going,
Is nice.
Hey, you know what? This is my price, this is my cost. In 3 years, I can trade it in. I can get another brand new truck. The only thing I found is that I'm typically getting a straight truck.
So the same thing on owning.
I'm not getting like a nice cab over. I'm not getting sometimes even a side door. So is it really worth it to me? Like, I don't know. Like now it's just a straight truck, right? Like it's
the same as owning with warranty. I take it to the dealership, right with the warranty Freightliner, at least I negotiate in my warranty some PMs, right? You can always negotiate something, right? So I always am throwing in something with PMs. And it's just like being at Penske, except they're not trying to find things to charge you, like Penske. So that's what I'm big. Like, I think I pay less not with Penske trying to face me, with the lease is more stable with the warranty truck on my side. But leases, the turn-in is what's good. Patrick Meyerbach, by the way, Patrick only charges me. He doesn't give me anything for saying him all the time, but he does save my butt in a lot of stuff. So Patrick Meyerbach took me to save me about 60 grand with one of them on a couple of turn-ins, because they'll try to tell you that they can't find the part and charge you for usage while it's sitting there after you turned it. So I had them during COVID trying to do that for 9 months on a part. Yeah. So that they'll abuse you. And the contract they have is like, they have you if they want you. I won't say which one it is, but it wasn't the big yellow one that I mentioned. It was the other one I didn't like.
So basically what you're saying in a roundabout way is that when you do get the contracts, if you have a lawyer, somebody that you deal with, go get this stuff assessed. Go get it checked out.
And
have it reviewed.
And don't sign it if you don't have a lawyer. Don't sign it if you don't have an attorney.
No, for sure. Well, I was just going to say, like, pay your attorney an hour or 2 hours just to go through it and make sure that there's ways and things that you can get out of, because it'll probably save you a bunch of money in the end. This has been great. I kind of like this little truck talk. This has always been, an interesting, sometimes it's a sore subject for others, that have been burned in the past.
Yeah. I hate them.
But you need the trucks. It needs to be on your fleet, right? Only way to grow. What else you going to use? So.
And that's what I did too on the leasing model. Like, think about it. Who knows when to buy and get rid of trucks the best? I'm Betsy. And everybody follows his model. We see what he does. He gets rid of trucks after they're out of warranty. Right? So he's already done all the studies, is the way I see it. He's smarter than everybody in the moving industry. So if it's one of the major companies in the world. They do a lot more than the trucks. But yeah, he's got it figured out. So that's why I went to the model. It's not, everybody has their own opinion. They all cost us an arm and a leg. I just like to know what I have to hit before the surprises after the 8 trucks. But, if they've done all studies, all these companies do it, they get out of warranty and then they sell them, they fire sell them, they're on to something. And so that's what I've tried to do. And boy, that first time I did it, when I hit 6 years in trucks, you'll laugh at this part, out of the warranty zone, I tried to stretch it just like all of us would. Like, okay, I had this thing where I'm committing to 5 years depreciating and getting rid of it. And of course I'm going to go, I can get a year out of this now that I don't have any payments or anything. And, that first year I had 2 trucks that had big problems during that year. And I was like, okay, I learned my lesson. So now I'll do 5. Now I recycle the boxes. So I'm going to use a box 2 or 3 times on the trade-in, so I don't have to do a wrap and all those things. I pay
interesting.
a good amount for the 3M.
So you'll return the truck, take the box off.
Yeah, I'll have the dealership put the old box on the new truck.
Interesting. Okay.
Because that's what, I don't know. It used to be 30 grand. It's probably 50 grand of it now.
Sure.
Yeah. Morgan bodies. I don't know. For a few years that they were back ordered forever.
Right. Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, for sure. Interesting. If you guys want to learn more, reach out to Steven when it comes to how he can, keep the box trucks, flip them on, put them onto another one. And if you have any lease questions, I'm sure he'd be more than available to help you walk through or answer anything. I'm doubtful.
Please, if I can save you something from what I went
for sure. No, exactly. Yeah. Awesome, Steven. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this evening episode of Movified Wednesdays. Nighttime. And we're not even, I feel disappointed that I'm not even holding like a scotch or something or a cigar in my mouth and going, all right, guys, this is the evening chat.
I should have.
We should have next time.
I think I hit the vape less. By the way, I've noticed. I watched my own episode. I'm vaping less in here.
Perfect. Very proud of you.
See.
Very
That's
proud of you from the first time you've been on podcasts. Oh boy.
Advancing.
That's right.
I love this episode because I heard a little bit about Mark on this side. So I'm going to kick it back to you. The more and more I hear about your operation there, the more impressed I am.
We'll finish off on this. I had a driver that worked for me for many years. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple months ago. And bless his heart, I always felt like I was an owner that gave so many chances to my guys. And I finally had the last straw when he took one of my trucks. He had the keys because I trusted a lot of my drivers, and he just had the keys to one of the trucks, didn't hand them in, and the truck wasn't in the yard the next day. So I'm like, oh man, okay, I better go drive over to his house, see if the truck's parked there. So I drive over to his house. I dispatch everybody. This guy wasn't scheduled the next day, and I drive over to the house. There's the truck, and I look a little bit closer as I'm parking, and the side of my truck, you can see the bumper's been dented. The side of the truck has been kind of scraped and scratched and everything else. And of course, now I'm pissed off, right? I'm probably smoking like 5 cigarettes. I'm super annoyed, and I'm choked. So I'm banging outside this guy's, patio door out of his apartment, because he lived on the ground level, which was conveniently able to, so I can get actual access into this guy's apartment. He groggily comes in here, and he's like, I don't know what happened to the truck. Starts blowing a fit, right? Like, just getting super pissed off with me. He throws me the keys. I'm never fucking working for you again, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you're fired, you're done. Typical, it's like small moving company mentality. You're just, because, and you're also, for me, like, when I have guys that work for me and I have shared a drink with you, I've broken bread with you, whether it's at a Christmas party or anything else, like, you're part of my family. I mean, I see most of you guys more than I see my own family. And even at that time, like, I wasn't even married. Like, I mean, I'm like, sweating blood, sweat, and tears into this company. You hurt me. Like, my feelings are now hurt. I am choked at what's happening. I get a phone. I get a text later. Okay, can I come by the office and talk? It comes by. I had a couple of drinks last night and I couldn't get back, so I used the truck to get back after the bar. The guy drove and smoked like 6 vehicles on like a small residential street. Like, he basically,
like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, like he drove the truck completely obliterated from the local bar, and like just destroyed probably like 5 or 6 vehicles, like scratched the shit out of them and damaged them.
And this episode is brought to you by Sam, Sarah, and Motive, guys.
100%.
Are you hearing this?
And here's the thing. I mean, this is, again, before that kind of stuff was around. I'm pretty sure Geotab was around, but
yeah,
I at that time wasn't looking at the costs of putting these kind of things in my trucks, and you didn't have the technology that it is today.
Next track.
I had to let him go, right? Like, it was one of those things where I was like, you know what? Like, this now breaks the camel's back. Like, I cannot have this. You are now a total liability. And you
can't make this back for me. Yeah.
You're not gonna make it back.
Yeah.
And, sometimes you have to make those kind of steps. And the talk about trucks and everything else reminded me of that story, because I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, probably the worst scenario you can ever think of, because, some of these guys had probably cameras outside their houses. I mean, before you knew it, I was getting phone calls to the office going, I think your truck hit my vehicle. And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Where are you located? Right? And you're like, okay, clearly this is that street, and this is where it happened. So for being 2020, for being in 2025, guys, I highly suggest, if you do not have any type of tracking in your vehicle or cameras on your dashboard, get that shit installed. Like, go out and do it right away. It is such a solid investment. You should know where the fuck your trucks are, and you should know what's happening. These guys are like, I don't want people filming me. I don't need to know what's going on. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, because there's plenty of swampers, or even the drivers that are out there that you can trust full-heartedly with, like, your children. They get on a truck, and guess what? They're like, oh, beautiful sunny day. I might just smoke a joint. Oh, the customer gave us a 6-pack of beer. Oh, that's pretty nice. Oh, let's just, have a beer on the way home, right? Back to the shop. hey, let's just not tell anybody. Let's get rid of these cans, right? And you're just like,
It's just a sunny day in the moving
just a
truck. Let's
sunny
smoke
day,
a joint
right?
and drink a beer.
It's hey, I don't know, right? It
Why
happens.
wouldn't I drink
Why
a beer
wouldn't
and
I?
smoke a joint right now?
Right?
this
Sure.
sunny day?
Oh man, there's no rules and regulations.
There's no camera watching me.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. And I sit so much higher than all the other vehicles. They don't see what I'm doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody's interested. No kid wants to see this moving truck when I pull up.
That's right.
To their house and move their family.
No, exactly.
Here in a
So
minute.
that's my finishing story. All right, that's the story you guys get.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Why? Thank you.
Uh,
Why? Thank you.
I'm sorry that happened to you.
Oh,
But I did imagine Wolf of Wall Street a little bit.
oh, for sure, for sure.
In a moving truck.
Well, guys, listen. If
right.
you like this episode, definitely hit us up with some comments. Let us know and share some of your moving experiences when it comes down to trucks or leases. Give us some pros and cons. Let us know, what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and for all those listeners, stay Movified, everybody. Stay Movified.
Have a happy new year.
Happy New Year.